Hey guys, okay, this is a good one. This is scary. This is what Christ does to you to figure out what your problems are, what your issues are. And I'm going to walk you through it. So I'm going to try to walk you through it best I can. By example, because I got this new Christ and he walked me through it. He said he's going to give me 3 session dreams. I don't remember the first 2, but I have this one, and it's pretty straightforward. But this is how he does it. This is how Christ figures out your mental problems, your mental, spiritual, your mental soul problems in dreams. So if you're a Christian, you've had these dreams. I guarantee it. Don't fucking tell me you haven't. Christ does this to everybody. Maybe not this exact same dream, but the same process. And you know it. You know it. I ain't lying. All right. So I'm at my mom's house because I can't sleep at my house because of the air conditioner from my asshole neighbor. And I go to sleep. Cray says, giving you a session dream. I'm like, okay, whatever. Do what you gotta do. I fall asleep. All of a sudden, I'm in this dream and I'm down low. Like it seems lower in the low. Well, it seems like the low illusion, level 1, but lower. That type of thing. And I'm Doom City, that type of thing. Fuck. Anyway, I'm there and I am low. I am. I guess I am. But anyway, I'm in the gangland and I'm hanging out with this guy and we have to go see the gang leader. So we meet up, we start walking towards the meeting place where we're going to meet our gang leader. And we get there, all these other people come up and I hook up to I look at every person and say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And everybody's bitching and fighting. Everybody's arguing about bitching. And I hook up to each one and they're all pissed at me. They're pissed at everybody. The rest of this gang are pissed at everybody. And I shake the hands of this one guy. He say, hey, what's up? He's like, who the fuck are you? What are you doing here? That type of thing. And I'm like, shit, really? This is how you're going to come off? And I'm like, fuck you. I don't need this shit. And they're off. And I meet another guy and he gives me the same attitude. And they're all like opposing me for every issue I have, every fucking thing. And they ain't even issues. They're stupid shit of Earth. You know, I don't know how to, what pisses you off on Earth? Oh, the guy kept my fucking money for my drugs, and I ain't got no money. I ain't got no drugs because he kept my money. That type of shit, you know. This is what they're all worried about. These people, you know. You know, I fucked your whore and she fucking stole my fucking sneakers. That type of thing. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing here? Why? And I'm in this gang, and the gang leader is coming. So he pulls up, he gets out of his car, he walks over, and he's talking to us. We're his gang. I'm like, and I'm listening to him, and he's talking to everybody. And he comes to me and he goes, he starts yelling at me. You ain't out there producing. You're supposed to be fucking doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that. I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't wanna. It's pointless. Why the fuck would I do? Because you're doing it for cohesion. You're doing it for cohesion. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. Sorry. We're doing it for the brotherhood or the gang. And you're out there working the streets for the gang. And I'm like, I don't want to work the fucking streets. Right? And I'm getting pissed off. But I don't let the my pissed off attitude get the better of me where I fucking strike them. Okay? And I go, I know I'm supposed to be doing this because I'm in a gang. I don't even want to be in the gang. And he goes, you know what? And this guy looks like a construction worker. Big, huge muscles, fucking head on him looks like a huge muscles, big neck muscles. Fucking, I'm like, shit, you'd be hard. All I can do is shoot you. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Is all I can do is shoot you because hey, there's no goddamn way I'm gonna take you out. And I'm getting scared. Like I got no friends here. Not really. The one guy I come walking up with, he goes, "We're missing a guy. Do you know where he is?" And I go, "I don't know. He's probably fucking on drugs somewhere in an alley." You know. And he goes, "Well, we gotta find him because he's supposed to be at the meeting. He's not here." And I go, "Well, fuck, what are we gonna do about it?" You know. Anyways, he looks at me. He goes, "You know what? You ain't you." He said something to me. He goes, "You ain't producing for the cohesion of the gang." And I'm like, whatever, dude. And I was scared. Like this guy, when he looked at me, he fucking told me, I felt all of it. I felt his dominance, his gang leadership right on me. Like, what are you going to do about it, Rich? Puts a gun in my head, says, you better start fucking producing. And I felt all this shit right on me in my fucking soul. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing. Just then, I woke up in my bed. In my head, I woke up out of the dream. And I go, what the hell was that dream about? And then everybody started yelling at me. All these people started yelling at me. Not my family this time. People I didn't know. I didn't know here. Like, I know my family. My family is Angela, Julie, Elizabeth. They're my kids, and Tina. But all these people were guys, gang, sounded like the gang leader. And I go, where the fuck is Jesus at? And Jesus starts screaming. You know, he's screaming at me, and everybody's screaming at me, and everybody's screaming issues at me. And I'm laying there, I'm listening to them, and they're accusing me of everything. You ain't fucking producing. You're a fucking chump. You're this, you're that. And I'm like laying there listening. I'm going, fuck you. It's the same thing I was going through with the gang leader in the dream. But I woke up and everybody's yelling at me. And it's brutal. They were yelling brutal things. They're going, you're a fucking soy boy. You ain't fucking piece of shit. You can't do nothing. You're nothing. You're useless. And all this. I'm like, fuck you. I got other priorities, you know? Fuck you. I'm thinking I should be fucking shooting these people. Where the fuck am I? Like, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden I remembered. All of a sudden I remembered. Session dream, right? Then I start rising up slowly. I start rising up. And everybody's bitching at me still. And it's like I'm going through a initiation process where, you know, in the military, they send you through two lines of people and you're going through and each person punches you and yells at you and punches you and you go on to the next, you go down the line and everybody's hitting you and you come out all bruised and beaten up. but you're part of the gang now. You're part of the gang now. That's what it's like. And these girls are going, your fucking cock is so goddamn small, you couldn't even fucking do anything. You didn't get me off. And they're yelling at me, like swearing and cursing. Brutal fucking stuff. Making you feel, and it's all soul. You feel it in your heart. You feel it in your head. You feel what they're saying, which is sickness. All the fucking sickness. These people around me are yelling at me. And then my kids start yelling at me. As I get higher, my kids start yelling at me. And there's tons of people. You can't fucking shoot nothing, Rich. You're fucking retarded. You're fucking so retarded. You go to resort to fucking goats and all this shit. And I'm like, and there's one point I turned around and I was gonna fucking slug this guy. Like, it got me. Like, I was getting ready to hit him. And it was a real person, a real spirit. These are all real people. And they all have their issue with me. Okay? And they're yelling that issue with me. And they're making me feel like shit. Brutal. I felt fucking bad. And I got it. And I just rose up. And they're all yelling at me. You're all yelling at me. They're trying to trigger me. That's the game. That's what's going on in the session dream. But it's not a dream anymore. It's reality. I woke up on my bed. I'm laying on my bed, and they're all yelling at me. These spirits, as I'm rising up in vibration, and then my wife and kids start yelling at me, and they're brutal. I'm having a hard time not slugging these fucking people, just for the sake of them yelling at me the way they are. Like, in reality, here I knock your teeth out for fucking saying that to me. You know, and I've reached my limit. I'm at a red zone. As soon as I got to the red zone, my soul took over my head and said, basically, ride through this. Don't react. That's the process. They want you to react. Because when you react, these are the issues you have. I'm going, these are all my issues. Exactly my issues with the fucking human population. All scum of the earth. He goes, yeah, that's why they're doing it. No, ignore it all. Ignore it all. It's fucking hard. Without reacting, you got to rise above it. And I knew that instinctively. I got it. And I go, oh, I've been here before. I've been here 1,000 times. And so I'm rising above it. And they're yelling at me. They're calling me every issue I have about my sexuality, fucking every issue I got. There must have been 50 people fucking barking in my face. You fucking do this, you do that, you do this. You can't react. They're accusing me of things I didn't even do. I have no memory of. I've never been there in my life. That type of shit. And then I rise above it. I don't react. And there's one time, like I said earlier, I was gonna punch this one guy out because he fucking hit home, and I was about to react, and I let it go. And I just focused on my inner shit, my inner light, and rose above it all. And then I came above it. Everybody's yelling up at me because I'm above it now. Everybody's down there yelling. It's like I went through this well of people, a well hole of people, and everybody's yelling at me. And I rose above it. And then Tina goes, let it go, Rich. Let it go. Let it go. I knew that meant let all that shit go. And it has to do with Chris next door, too. The air conditioner asshole. She said, let it go. All your issues, let it go. And she's telling me this, so I know it, and I feel love from her and Christ and everything. And I let it all go. I separated myself from it. All the voices that were accusing me, all the accusations, hundreds of accusations, belittling you, everything. I let it all go. And I rose above it. Now I'm in the light. And Tina goes, you rose above it all. You're letting go of all your issues. That's what you got to do. That's what grace is. I go, fuck, that was brutal. And she goes, yeah, it is. It's brutal. Some people can never do it. Can never do it. Can never get out of the hole. But you got to let it go. And you did. You let it all go. Everything. Everything. She goes, you'll do it again, and you gotta. And I go, I know. My instinct told me. I told Tina, my instinct told me, let it go. Well, rise above it. Don't react. Don't react to it, because that's what they want you to do. Because then when you react to the people that are around you yelling at you, you punch them fucking teeth out, right? Then you're engaged in the conflict. You understand? When you rise above it, you're free of it. Spiritually, you're free of it. The shit still remains in your head, all your issues, but you're working it out, you're letting it go. You're letting all your problems go. And that is the dream session. That is what Jesus Christ or Christ does. That is cleansing you of your problems. It's brutal. It's fucking brutal. Oh my God, is it brutal? And I know you all had it. If you're a Christian, you've had it. Even if you're not a Christian, you've probably had it, because other people do that. Other faiths or religions or whatever, they do that to let go of your problems. And with Jesus Christ, it's brutal. Oh, fuck. You wanted to cry. You wanted to fight. You wanted to make you feel they take your innocence and they yell at it. And you just can't believe you're fucking here. You can't believe, like, you're going, what's wrong with these fucking people? But that's the world you get wrapped up in. That's the physical world. All your issues with the physical world, you get wrapped up in. By you going through that process, it lets go. You let go of all your issues. And that's how Christ. Now, if I was to react at that guy that yelled at me, he said something to me, and I punched him in the fucking face, Christ knew right there. Even if I wanted to, Christ would know. Oh, that's Richard's issue. That's a very important issue for Richard. So we got to work on that. Whatever that guy was yelling at me, whatever that guy was yelling at me about my inhibitions or fears or whatever, that was my issue. Check mark for Christ to work on. And there were thousands, hundreds, at least hundreds, multi-hundreds, 1,000. I don't know. There's a lot of fucking issues. Oh man. But I rose above it all. I'm in the fucking light, and this basically it's like you gotta go through all your issues. And I'm thinking, and a part of me when I was with my inner light rising above it all, I'm like, fuck, I gotta do this again. And it's brutal. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I rose above it all. And I'm like, why did you put me through that again? Why? Why? He goes, well, that's what we do. You gotta do it. You gotta get through. You gotta. But it's a cleansing of your soul. It's a cleansing of your mind. It's a cleansing of your issues. You let them go. You constantly let them go. And he goes, we're going to do another one. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And some of them are passive. Working when he does a dream session with you, he works on one issue you have. But this one was a big daddy. All the issues at once to find out what issue. So you go through this whole well, rising up, where everybody's yelling at you over your issues, and he picks out the issues you react to. So Christ picks out the issues you react to, so he can work on them separately in another dream session. I think I reacted to 2 out of the hundreds that were there, because it was brutal. I don't even know what the fuck they were about. I don't know. I did it the moment I punched a guy, or I wanted to punch him, and I didn't. So that's a bonus. But it really hit home, and that's something you got to work on, Rich. That's what Christ says. That's something you got to work on. So that's one of my issues I got to work on. I got to let that go. And this shit builds up over time. It's just when you're in the belly of the beast on earth, this is the shit you got to deal with. And Christ releases you from that. Because over time, you have all these issues with pedophiles, child molesters, fucking rapists, right? And it's ingrained in your head, it's ingrained in your soul. But every once in a while, Christ releases you from it. And you go back into it with a better perspective. And you can go fucking play with the belly of the beast. Earth, on earth, Satan, whatever. That's the process when you work with Christ. And it's a beautiful thing, but it's fucking brutal. Fucking brutal. I've been through it 100 fucking times in this life, at the least. Forget the fucking aliens. I don't even want to know their spiritual processes, but they're like Christ, so it's got to be something similar. But goddamn, man, brutal stuff. All right, so if you're a Christian, you've been through this and you know it. you know. But the only thing is, the difference between, I basically live in a spirit world. My soul cracked my nut, and I'm perceiving spiritually. So that's the only difference between people wrapped up in the illusion, earth, and they have no perception of their soul. But in dream space, you can go there. You become your soul. You can access your soul much easier. Well, it's released. Your soul comes out when you sleep. When you sleep, you become your soul. Now, we can get into more detail about that, but fuck it, I gotta go. So, brutal stuff, man. That's one of the processes you go through with Christ. And I seen it. I got, because I was a Christ in this life. My soul was, which makes me a Christ. So I know the process, but I'm not a Christ now. So I got that, well, we're putting you through this, right? But you don't know what they're going to put you through. But then when you're going through it, you're like, I fucking know this shit. But it's brutal. Like, I can sit there and go, yeah, I've been here before. I got to do this again. But it's brutal, man. Oh, it was brutal. And the gang dream. Craig said it was you need the gang leader. He goes, you need cohesion to the gang, to the gang. You need cohesion to the gang, which really meant you needed cohesion in yourself and the gang, because the gang was accusing me of doing stupid shit and not working 100% with the gang in the dream, and I didn't want to play there. That pissed off the gang leader because I wasn't playing gang boy anymore. I never was, really. And he said, you need cohesion or something. And which really meant I need cohesion in myself. Oh, man, it was brutal. And I had this a week ago, but I wanted to make the video and I wrote it all down, but I lost the fucking notes and I had to get it out the best I could before I totally forgot the dream. All right, guys. Talk to you later.